If I had wings of Atlantis, a paper plane gliding on light gusts of wind, I'd live in the sky, through the clouds I would fly, and never come back down again. Dance on the moon, sleep on the stars, love will be with us wherever we are. Let time stand still, life is too soon, till it's all over. Dance on the moon.
I started writing this book after I wrote the book The Messenger about my grandfather on my father's side. For years I thought about writing this book. It is not a book of enlightenment. It's a book of passion. It's a book of dedication, of love, and raising kids in very difficult circumstances. You have to understand what Grace went through to get where we are. And I need to show you my board here. This is Grace's life and her death and all that followed. That little pink strip right there is Grace. My book starts with William Speed Colonel Hammond, who is my great-great-grandfather. A lady that lived down the street from the old home place, which is this place right here, brought a stack of papers for me to look at. And in that stack of papers is this picture right here. And I got my magnifying glass and I concentrated on that gentleman right there, Garrett, Taylor's father. And the young lady standing in front of him is Rebecca, our great-grandmother. I've given you the first part, which is bringing Taylor to an age where he meets Grace on Big Laurel Mountain. They met in a one-room schoolhouse on Laurel Creek, and he was in the 5th grade when she was in the 1st grade. Ultimately, when he was 22 and she was 16, they married. They had no idea what they were getting into when they moved to Williamson. Taylor went to work with his brother Henry in the mines in Mingo County. They worked 12 hours a day on their knees or on their back mining coal, and they were paid 35 cents a ton. The company wanted so badly to keep the unions out that they literally disposed of anyone who they felt was trying to get the unions in what they called an accident. My grandfather was executed as he left the mines by a 2,300 volt bare wire that dropped down from the opening of the mine just at the time that he alone was passing under. That leaves Grace trying to raise 3 children on no money. The mining company kicked her out of the tent, but after the union signed a contract, she was given $5 a week for each of her 3 children. She took that money and she rented a place in downtown Williamson, West Virginia for $8 a month, and she moved her family to Williamson. She took in laundry, but the people around her were so poor, very few of them could give her laundry to do. She hardly hadn't made enough money to pay the payment on the used washing machine. She went to the county to ask for their help. They told her they had no money. She really did reach bottom when she agreed with her half-brother to sell moonshine for him. The moonshiner, who is Chapman, who raised her, had a big market in West Virginia for moonshine. Every 8 days, she would get on that train and she would go to Catlettsburg, and they would meet her there with a satchel, a cloth satchel, in which there were 6 to 8 jars of moonshine. She would take that satchel back home and put it in her closet. That is the only time she ever touched the product. They would then pick it up, deliver it, and they gave her $2 for each of those pints of moonshine. So she would make $12 to $16 a week, which was an amazing amount of money for my grandmother. She had never seen that much money before. The problem was that she was committing a felony, and those who were picking it up at her doorstep and delivering it were committing a misdemeanor. And so when she was caught, she was convicted, and she was sentenced to 2.5 years in state penitentiary. Those who picked up the booze from her and sold it got 6 months. She was arrested, thrown in prison, and left her 3 kids on the streets with absolutely no support. We went back to the old home place, which is that log cabin I showed you earlier. And the lady who lives there now, Jenny Preston, said that there were a whole bunch of papers upstairs, and she didn't know anything about what they were, but I asked her to go get them, and she brought them down. This map was one of those papers. I had to beg her to let me take the original out of the house, and I brought it to Memphis, and I took it to a mapping place, and they reproduced it, and then I sent her the original back. But the map was made, we know, sometime between 1912 and 1915, because my mother was born on 1915. And this map shows us where my mother was born. And this map, if you look right there, it says Taylor Hammond Residence. That's the most important thing that we have found in all of my years of looking for stories of grace. My mother was born right there, delivered by her father, Taylor Hammond.
If I had wings of Atlantis, a paper plane gliding